and Amaduba, candidate for the ruling coalition. It has to be said that voting day yesterday, Sunday, mobilized Senegalese not only locally but also abroad. According to political analysts, the turnout was high as expected, enhanced by young people who were full of demands for change and the renewal of the political class. The elderly were also mobilized. The military also voted at the same time as civilians. On the whole, it was a calm voting day, as Abdullahi Sila, chairman of the Autonomous National Electoral Commission, SENA, said at the close of polling stations. While the official results are awaited, supporters of opposition candidate Basiru Diomaye Faye, right-hand man of opposition politician Usman Sonko, are already celebrating his victory.
Ogebirika with that report. Now, while the provisional results from Sunday's elections here in Senegal are being awaited, experts want the lessons learned in the build-up to the vote to reflect in the new government. Recall the election took place after much uncertainty following President Macky Sall's unsuccessful effort to delay the February 25 vote until the end of the year and then announcing a surprise amnesty for political prisoners. Imo Edet reports.
The much-anticipated presidential election was held on Sunday across Senegal, with nearly 7 million people exercising their franchise. For many, it was a relief seeing the election taking place despite the chaos that characterized the build-up to the polls. Speaking with WADR, AU governance expert Ibrahim Khan believes this year's election is crucial to the strengthening of democracy in Senegal and the region at large.
My personal vision of democracy is to really saying that democracy is only people trying to get more and more rights, more and more dignity, and finding the space in the society. And I think this particular election is critical because it's a transition.
As early as 10 a.m., most of the presidential candidates had cast their votes, including incumbent Macky Sall. The main opposition candidate, Basiru Diomaye Faye, arrived at his hometown in Njaganao in the Chess region by midday to vote amidst loud cheers. Meanwhile, President Macky Sall, after voting, appealed for calm as the population awaits the final results announcement by SENA and a subsequent confirmation by the Constitutional Council. With the first round of the election held and results being awaited, Ibrahim Khan believes the next government should learn from the events that led to this election and consider a national conference that will see the review of the constitution.
It's also about changing direction. That change of direction goes also with changing the political class. So in my view, this election will be seen as the end of an era. Now that we realize that none of the promises of our independence were met, a new generation will have to take over. And that new generation is young. That new generation needs to show that he has ideas, he is creative, and also he's responding to the need of the people. And that all those things needs to be reflected in the constitution.
While many believe that the election was fair in its conduct, they also want the results to reflect the wishes of the people. For now, the wait begins.
A more edit there, indeed, the wait begins. Meanwhile, in Ouagadougou, the Burkinabe capital, the Senegalese diaspora vote turnout was around 42%, according to provisional data compiled in 3 polling stations. This figure fell short of expectations of the representatives of the political parties, although some are confident that their respective candidates will win. Tawfiq Abdel Nasser has put this report by WADR's Martin Kaba.
At 6 p.m., the chairman of the 3 polling stations at Kamsongi, a school, brought the polling to a close. While the secretaries and evaluators were packing up their belongings, the voters in the country yard were in small groups chatting. Except the turnout did not live up to expectations. Voters didn't turn out for this election, lamented the representatives of the ruling Beno Bokyaka coalition. According to Musa Faye, also a representative of an opposition party, this lack of turnout can be explained. While the counting is underway, these various candidates' representatives say they are optimistic. They all hope their candidates will win.
A report filed in by WADR's Martin Kaba in Ouagadougou and voiced in our studios by Tawfiq Abdel Nasser.
More stories coming up. on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Remember, we are streaming live on WADR.org. More on electoral matters. The Chadian Constitutional Council has validated 10 presidential candidates ahead of the May 6 elections that aim to return the country back to constitutional rule. Son of former late president and interim president General Muhammad Idris Deby Itno alongside the current 7 Prime Minister Success Masra are both on the approved list. A female candidate, Lady Besemda, is the only female and among those validated by the council. Francis Boniface tells us more.
10 individuals, including fierce opponents and critics of the present government, such as Nasu Ibrahim Kusami and Rakis Ahmed Saleh, were disqualified from participating in the electoral process because of irregularities. Backed by the Political Stakeholders Consultation Group, Ibrahim Kusami is due to face the court for presenting false documents. However, the Chadian opposition is not pleased with the development. Ahmed Saleh, representing the Party for Democratic Renewal, accused the constitutional body of maneuvers to rule out candidates without good reason. For its part, Wakit Tama, a major opposition coalition, is calling for a boycott of the presidential vote, denouncing it as a masquerade aimed at upholding a dictatorship. The barring of the opposition candidates comes less than a month after General Deby's main rival, Yaya Dillo, was shot dead in an army assault on his PSF party headquarters, an action PSF labeled as assassination. Recall that Itno promised to hand over power to a civilian government within 18 months, but extended the transition period by 2 more years. Muhammad Deby Itno would on March 2 officially declare his ambition for the top job. Like his father, Itno Jr. seeks to transition from a military head of state to a democratically elected president while clinging to power.
Francis Boniface reporting there, still in the Sahel, but now to security matters. A terrorist organization has claimed responsibility for the deadly attack on Niger's army that killed at least 30 officers. Augustine Coley completes the story.
The Islamic State, in a statement over the weekend posted on a Telegram channel, said the soldiers were killed in an ambush near the town of Tigre in the Tel Aberi region. But contrary to this post, the Nigerian Ministry of Defense had on Thursday confirmed 23 soldiers killed and 17 others wounded in the said attack, while 30 assailants were neutralized. Faced with jihadist threats, the military authority last week revoked with immediate effect a military accord that allows military personnel and civilian staff from the U.S. Department of Defense on its soil. Recall, Niamey last year expelled French troops after cancelling similar military agreements. In the meantime, RSRS claims of the attack in Niger coincides with that of the concert massacre in Moscow, Russia. The 4 gunmen identified have been arrested and are rather facing trial. Regional security experts have yet to make any link between these events.
Augustine Coley filed that report. The Nigerian military has announced the rescue of 137 school children abducted from 2 schools in Kaduna State by bandits. The pupils were taken by gunmen on motorcycles earlier this month, sparking local outrage and international condemnation. Authorities say the pupils were all released unharmed days before the deadline for the payment of ransom. WADR's Usman Omar has the details in the following report.
Initial reports indicated that 287 children were kidnapped, but the military clarified that the number is 137. The kidnappers had demanded $690,000 for the release of the Kuriga children with ages ranging between 8 and 15. The government had said it would not pay any ransom. A statement issued by the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, said the students rescued from neighboring Zamfara State in the northwest have been handed over to the Kaduna State government. Ubasani is the governor of Kaduna State.
I'm happy that they are back home now. They are with us, and police have played a major role in bringing these children back home. I want to thank the IG. I want to thank all the security agencies.
In a related development, security operatives in Sokoto and Zamfara State under the 8th Division Garrison have rescued the 17 children abducted while attending a local Islamic school in Zamfara State 2 weeks ago. Brigadier General Alexander Tawasimi is the 8th Division Garrison Commander.
The result of deliberate efforts by all security agencies, both here and that of Zamfara State, to ensure the safe passage and recovery of these abducted children. So we want to thank God Almighty for making this possible for us, and we can also assure the people of Sokoto State of our commitment to ensure that life and property are safe and secure, and our community are secured.
Nigeria has been experiencing a wave of mass kidnappings, and many victims remain missing. Abduction for ransom has become a favored tactic of bandit gangs and jihadists in the country. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Usman Omar reporting from Abuja.
Liberia's 2023 presidential and legislative elections have since come and gone, but the level of disunity among Liberians is widespread, as many are divided on political lines. In this regard, the Center for Conflict Prevention and Peace Building has concluded a 2-day reconciliation dialogue with citizens of Central Liberia, Bonk County. WADR's Darlington Pauper in Monrovia has this report.
The 2-day event, which took place in Belafene, Bonk County, was held to honor the theme, A Reconciled Society for a Sustainable Growth, and brought together local leaders, the student community, people living with disability, among others. During the event, the executive director of the Center for Conflict Prevention and Peace Building, Charles Crawford, said the dialogue was aimed at unifying Liberians, as well as encouraging them to work together in order to foster development.
We do not want that conflict to resurface, to come back again. That's why we're here trying to educate the people about the need to peacefully coexist in Belafene. The bulk of the issues, the underlying factor of the issues are the poor divided. You were here, you listened to some of what the poor are saying. Belafene is deeply divided. It's a divided community. In our capacity as conflict resolution specialists, experts, we see the need to come together to see how we can talk to them, to reunite them. There's strength in unity. They need to live together in this place as brothers and sisters, as one people, as one family. With that, Belafene will move forward.
For these participants, they blamed the underdevelopment of Liberia to the level of disunity among the population, indicating that investors are not willing to invest in a country heavily divided.
I learned about peace, to discuss about matter between people, to bring people together for them to be one, for peace to be between people, to avoid conflict. We need awareness about peace building. I'm going to get a message to my people because I'm hearing a whole lot of women. I'm going to talk to them to make peace between children, husband and wife, even our boys' children.
But one peace is in Belafene town, the district at large, it is in peace. That's a peace I enjoy within the process of the meeting for today. Everybody is talking on peace, that peace will be restored. Once the community is peace, the houses in Belafene is peaceful, then Belafene is peaceful and the district at large.
Many are hoping such a dialogue will take place across the country to promote peaceful coexistence, whilst the government lobbies to develop the country. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, I'm Darlington Pauper in Monrovia.
You are listening to Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Here's a reminder of our top stories. 2 main presidential candidates maintain close lead in Senegal's March 24 delayed election. The Chadian Constitutional Council validates 10 candidacy files for the country's May 6 general elections. The Islamic State terrorist network claimed responsibility for the deadly attack on a Nigerian military convoy that killed 30. The Nigerian army rescues over 130 school children kidnapped by bandits in Kaduna State weeks ago. Still ahead in the news, we have the press review, guest interview, and a sports update. Please stay with us.
You are listening to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal.
Many thanks for staying with us. Now, nearly 98 million CFA francs was distributed among 96 Ivorian migrant returnees to support their reintegration process. The beneficiaries include 28 women. David Vincent tells us more.
The 96 Ivorian migrant returnees received a check of around 1,500 euros each from the authorities to facilitate their reintegration into society. A total of 150,000 euros, equivalent of 98 million francs CFA, was allocated for the scheme in 2024, which was piloted last year. According to Info Migrants, a new site on migration matters, 150 people who returned to Côte d'Ivoire in 2023 benefited from this same program, costing 143.8 million francs CFA, or approximately 218,000 euros. Speaking, Minister of Youth Promotion, Professional Integration and Civic Service, Mamadou Touré, said the disbursement is a loan repayable over 2 years that aims to support them in their professional integration journey. Mamadou Touré also invited the beneficiaries to be ambassadors of Côte d'Ivoire in the awareness campaign against irregular migration. In 2023, of the 157,000 migrants that arrived in Italy, 16,000 were Ivorians, making the third nationality represented behind Guinea and Tunisia.
David Vincent reporting.
This is the newspaper review. Stay abreast and find out what the top stories are in your country.
This is the newspaper review.
The newspaper review.
For today's press review, let's join WADR's Usman Omar in Abuja, who says the federal government is again instituting measures to end the abduction of school children after the safe rescue of over 100 pupils in the northwestern region.
Hello and welcome to the press review segment. Let's start with the Daily Sun newspaper, leading today with military opens up on rescue of Kaduna school children. With rider, we couldn't eat, sleep, reveal parents. Federal government deploying strategies to end school abductions. This is from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Kanu will soon be freed, Ohaneze assures Southeast youth. Nnamdi Kanu, remember, he is the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB. Please confirm murder of 12 personnel in Delta Bush, set to honor them. Detail of that is on page 4. Obasanjo Apugu, Lord Oti for low scrapping pension for ex-governors' deputies. Obasanjo is the former president of Nigeria, and Alex Oti is the governor of Abia State. He has scrapped pension payment for governors and their deputies. Quickly, let's take a look at the Daily Independent. This one has a rider. Afenifere, PANDEF, MBF, Lord Government Security Agencies, others. Of course, these are socio-cultural groups from the different regions of Nigeria. They have praised the government for the rescue of these children. They are also asking the federal government to apply same strategy for other victims who are still in captivity. The Patriots submit declaration for new constitution to Tinubu National Assembly. The Patriot is a group of Nigerians who have been working on the nation's constitution. Let's quickly move to the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. It's also leading with how 137 Kuriga pupils were rescued. This is coming from the defense headquarters. We will make our schools safe, secure. This is from Tinubu. And IGP, Special Intervention Squad, arrives Kaduna. No contact yet after 9 days. Wife of abducted editor cries out. Another one, abductors of Edo PDP chairman contact family, demand 500 million naira ransom. Finally, we take a look at the Vanguard newspaper, and Vanguard today is leading with this story. Pull army out of Okwama. Other Delta Bayelsa communities. This is an update on the Niger Delta killings of soldiers last week. Now, Niger Delta leaders and stakeholders are asking federal government to pull out army from Okwama. That is the community where the soldiers, about 17 of them, were slain last week. And this is the much we have for you on today's edition of Press Review. My name is Usman Omar, handing you back to the studios.
Many thanks, Usman Omar.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
Our guest this afternoon is a Newslink contributor and political analyst, Mamadou Cho, who joins us with his assessment of Senegal's March 24 delayed presidential election. Cho also comments on the visible tie between the two main candidates in the race, Amadou Ba of the ruling coalition, Beno Bokakar, and Bassirou Diomaye Faye of the opposition coalition.
Senegalese were lucky to hold the election before the end of the term of the current president, Macky Sall, because when you look back to what he did on February the 3rd, postponing the election, people were mad at him, and then there was demonstration. 4 people have been killed, young people, and afterwards, Senegalese were not sure if this election will take place before 2024, because there was a law passed at the National Assembly saying that it will take place in mid-December, meaning at the end of this year. So they are lucky to hold this election in March, finally.
Now, according to the reports, the leading candidates are opposition coalitions Jomai Faye and Amadou Ba from the ruling party. What is your take on this close tie?
It means Senegalese know how to vote. I mean, they don't waste their vote. They know that if they want to bring change after 2 terms of the ruling party, they will have to vote for the candidate of Ousmane Sonko, because voting for Bassirou Diomaye Faye is voting for Ousmane Sonko. People didn't see Ousmane Sonko himself. That's why you look at the large numbers voting for Bassirou Diomaye Faye, even in places which used to be stronghold of the ruling party. It means there is a game changer, and that's why people are talking about even a win, and there won't be a runoff. And we Senegalese want to see new political faces, like those who are the age of the new president, Bassirou Diomaye Faye. Yes, they started a new course. Maybe we are in what we call maybe the Second Republic or New Republic.
Right. Now, the results are being collated and should be released by Friday. Do we see a possibility of political tensions arising depending on the overall turnout of the votes?
No, we don't need that, because we Senegalese are used to, on the day we go to the ballot, to know who is the winner. Sunday night, everybody knew that it's for Bassirou Diomaye Faye, because the radio station, the television was live broadcasting, and there was almost every journalist in voting places. So people were expecting the loser, the candidate of the ruling coalition, Benno Bokk Yakaar, who is Amadou Ba, to call the winner and congratulate him on his big victory.
But that is still ongoing because the results are still being put together.
I know they are tallying the result, but I was talking what is the habit in Senegal, because as soon as on the same day they go to vote, the loser called the winner, and it's a done deal. People do not even pay attention to the rest of the process, but we know that we will have to wait. What we call the departmental commission will be releasing all the results by tomorrow, and then it will be up to the National Commission, and then afterward it will be for the Constitutional Council to declare, officially the winner.
What are the expectations for whichever candidate comes into power?
He have a big challenge, and this big challenge is first to reunite this country, because since March 2021, this country is torn apart. Starting from the case opposing Ousmane Sonko to this lady working in a beauty salon. Since then, there is people in Senegal are daggers drawn. Those who support Ousmane Sonko and those who support Macky Sall. So the new president need to bring them together. And maybe the second challenge is for him to bring judicial reform, because there have been a lot of political prisoners, put to prison for nothing. And he need to bring some political reform, and he promised, if it is Bassirou Diomaye Faye, as it is likely, he promised to reduce the powers of the president, who is stifling the other powers, which is the legislative power and the judicial power.
Mamadou Cho is a Senegalese political analyst. In the world of sport, the 13th All-Africa Games held in Ghana ended on Sunday with a resounding success. Some 5,000 athletes competed in 29 disciplines in the Ghanaian capital. Ghana secured victory in the 2023 African Games men's football tournament by defeating Uganda with a solitary goal at the Accra Sports Stadium on Friday. Meanwhile, the 13th African Games concluded in a celebratory atmosphere, with Team Nigeria securing a second-place finish in the final medal table with 120 medals, comprising of 47 gold, 33 silver and 40 bronze. While the overall medal count was lower than the 130 medals won in Morocco, the Ghana outing yielded a slight increase in gold medals. Weightlifting emerged as the gold mine for Nigeria, with lifters amassing an impressive 16 gold medals alongside 30 silver and 6 bronze medals. Meanwhile, after commanding victories in the first leg matches of the Total Energies CAF Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2025 qualifiers, Chad, Liberia, Eswatini find themselves in advantageous positions as they gear up for the return fixtures scheduled for Tuesday. As the second leg of the preliminary fixtures approach, All eyes will be on these teams as they vie for the coveted spots in the group phase of the qualifiers, with the hopes of making their mark on the continental stage. And with that, we end this edition of Newslink here on West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to Christian Mukidi and Maojo Juve for the technical support. Do interact with us via social media platforms, X, formerly Twitter, Instagram at WADR News, and on Facebook, now WADR English Service. We also stream live on WADR.org. Coming up at the bottom of the hour is WADR's flagship health program, Well Body, with Oge Berika, to be followed at the top of the hour of 1 p.m. by the second edition of a comprehensive news package in French. Info chez vous. I'm Abdullahi Hassan. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, Newmi FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and very